Who is a blockbuster smash and who is a frightening flop?
Gorgeous skating, gorgeous lines, very expressive, very committed.
We were saying to ourselves, could I even do that?
Literally.
How long would it take me to learn that step?
First of all, they were nervous. There were some little trips.
She has come here to create outstanding moments.
I literally cannot wait.
If that happens, that is history in the making. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Icebreakers podcast. My name is Matt Evers. I am sat alongside the ever so elegant Frankie Seaman. How are you this evening, my doll?
Well, hello, and look at you.
I clean up all right, don't I?
You do.
Well, we had a fantastic Dancing on Ice this evening. Everything is all about the movies. Who is a blockbuster smash and who is a frightening flop? But we are going to get into all of the performances, and I cannot wait.
And don't forget to tune in later this week for our bonus podcast episode, where you can see Matt and I catching up with Dancing on Ice superfan Amy Hart. She is going to be spilling the beans on life after reality TV, and we're going to be talking about some really serious stuff, including how to beat the internet trolls.
Really, really incredible chat that we had with her. Very emotional sometimes too, but she's a superhero and a super fan of us, so I cannot wait for that. And just for you, here is a little preview of what you are going to see on Friday.
I would say to everyone, my advice is, if you do still live at home or you like live in a house with your friends, go back to that and spend time with you. I remember I was so stressed, and like my mental health did take a bit of a dip when I came out, but I was really lucky that I had the therapy from ITV, and I had Lou, who was my psych in the villa, and I had that continuity. Drove to Kent to see her, and there was other therapists available, obviously, but I didn't want anyone else because she knew me. So she knew everything I'd been through. But I remember one day I was really, really stressed, and I snapped at my best friend, and she was like, funny. Yeah, no. We don't do that.
Stop.
We don't do that. You're from
Leave
you're
it to the bestie to keep you in place.
Remember.
All right, well, we are going to break down all of these performances for you, and we're going to give you our thoughts on who brought the Oscar home tonight.
It was a night of Hollywood glitz and glam. It was a spectacular evening. Honestly, I feel like I've been to the cinema.
I mean, 11 performances, first and foremost. This is the first time that we have seen all 11 couples skate against each other. And wow, did that leaderboard shake up tonight?
Where's the popcorn? Let's get into this.
I forgot the popcorn, I'm sorry. All right, first to skate, Ryan and Amani, Willy Wonka, Pure Imagination.
I just was worried you might mess that line up.
Willy what?
Willy won't he or won't he? Willy.
Willy did, sort of. Willy sort of did.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan and Amani, come on. We know they're going to be a powerhouse couple. We already know he's got some moves. We saw him in week one with his little spin. I mean, we know the guy can skate. And actually, I really liked it. I liked the whole performance. It was really sweet. He was partner skating. He was holding Amani and they were skating. They did waltz turns. Mm-hmm. This is really tricky stuff. So the people at home may not know, but waltz turns are when you both three turn around each other. That's really difficult. And actually, partners can really get into it and trip each other up. So I really liked seeing them, the way they skated together. But I did think that the lifts were a little bit messy.
I think this is the first time that we are seeing the pressure of all of the couples skating against each other. This is also the first time that they have had their music for maybe 5 or 6 days, where previously they had that first routine's music for 2 or 3 weeks.
And what was interesting was a lot of the couples actually finished late. You could tell that they didn't feel that they were ready to perform this. It almost felt like just the back of the rehearsals. A lot of them finished late. Ryan and Amani finished late. They didn't manage to finish at the end of the music. And I always think that that leaves a bit of a sour taste in your mouth.
Oh, a little candy reference there.
No, I'm going with it. And because we saw that with other couples as well, I'm going to let that slide. It's obviously a learning curve for them. They all now know that they're going to have to step it up, put in extra rehearsal time, and really know that music inside out. But I felt like at the end of this, you know, Ryan looked really happy during this routine, and it made me happy. It's candy canes. They had these cute little chocolate costumes on. I mean, they would just sprinkle some sugar on them, and they were cute as buttons. But I do feel like by the end of it, Ryan and the way that he spoke in Kiss and Cry, it was obvious that he was just pleased he got through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a testament to what a good actor he is, because we didn't really see that during the performance, but by the end of it, he was so relieved. I mean, first one out the blocks is hard anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's what I wrote down. What a great face. Great character. I had an A+ for the characterization. You can tell he's working hard because the training BTs, he's sweating, he's falling, he's trying new things. However, the biggest thing that I wrote down was I think he's starting to feel the pressure of the schedule because he mentioned in Kiss and Cry that he's missing his family. So he's probably not getting up north as much as he thought he might be able to during this. This show encapsulates your entire world for the next 8-9 weeks.
And it's really important that your family are on board and supportive, because if there's any tension at home because of the way that you're traveling up and down or missing family events and family functions, that can really play on your mind as well, you know, especially when you've got little ones. And actually we had Kieran, the cute little child skater. Big up Kieran.
Right.
He did a great job on
Future Dancing Nice professional.
Loving his work. And then we saw Ryan's children as well.
Now, if I'm going to be super critical, super critical, which I don't necessarily want to be, but
are you dipping your toe into Jason Gardner territory?
No, I'm not. I'm not dipping my toe anywhere near Jason Gardner. I don't want a verruca. But if I'm going to be too critical, his shoulders were too high. Like if he hears this, or if I can just send him a DM just to say, hey, just watch your shoulders. They just started towards the end. And again, that's that sort of performance endurance as well. We started to lose the neck. Always think about that posture.
I'm thinking about it now.
Yes.
It was a tension, but also that was a big bulky costume as well.
It
so
was.
even more so, you have to try and keep those shoulders down.
Yeah.
And Amani was also in a big bulky costume, which I felt when they were doing some of their lifts was kind of getting in his face and kind of getting in the way. It was a lot of fluff. A lot of fluff.
Consistent scores pretty much across the board. They scored 6.5s in a total of 25, which put him in sixth place-ish.
Sixth place?
Yes.
Did you say in sixth place? I think the thing with Ryan is he hadn't seen, because he skated in week 1, he had only seen half of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
So last week he just got to sit and watch, and he probably thought, whoa, I'm actually not as far ahead as the judges made me out to be in week 1, because by the time week 2 hit, we actually had some really strong skaters in there too. So I'm sure that's why he's feeling the pressure too.
Yeah.
But Ryan's a worker. You can tell he's a grafter. Like you said, he was sweating and he was like really getting down and dirty in rehearsal. So I feel like he is not going to let that stop him.
No, and I think even though the mood was a bit low after he skated, he's the type of person, and I know like his brothers as well, they will big him up. That positivity will roll around.
Great. Can't wait to see it. Come on, Ryan and Amani. Let's see more of the same, please.
All right. Second to skate was Roxy and Sylvain. Beetlejuice. Don't say it a third time.
What happens if I say it a third time?
Let's not find out.
What the fox?
What the what?
What the fox? I said fox, okay?
All right. Now, I have a lot to say about this. I'm a big fan of hers, especially from her first skate. However, the first 30 seconds, she didn't skate. Again, it's like this standing in place, dancing and characterization, and she's beautiful. I mean, the dance choreography was great. She's got rhythm.
Okay, first of all, her look, she was unrecognizable this week from what we saw of the Hollywood glamour that we saw of her in the first week. I agree with you that she was kind of just standing still, but she was by herself, and that's a lonely place to be, as you know. So that is a courageous thing for her to do. Yes, I would like to see more skating. If she's going to start by herself, she may as well skate. I mean, we know she can.
Yeah.
So
even if it's gliding forwards, but to stand in one spot for 20 to 30 seconds is a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tricky piece of music as well to choreograph to, and I think, you know, her and Sylvain will be looking at that next week, depending on what kind of music they're given, to make sure that there's a bit more flow, because that was that's like a third of the routine.
I know, and I did have that written down too, is that it's not an easy track to choreograph and or skate to, but also for the character in the face, because it can become a little like doll-like, right? And if you're going to do that, go big with it. But otherwise, it just looks like your face gets frozen in that position because you're just not quite sure what to do with the character.
Yeah, I mean, it was cute. It was manic. It was fun. Again, though, with the high shoulders. And I feel like this is indicative of everybody being together and feeding off each other's nervous energy. And so when they come out and perform, it's a little bit like, woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, totally. Difficulty-wise.
Did I sound like an owl then?
No, you didn't. A bit more like a meerkat. I have to give her props, though. The pencil lift, very difficult for the female celebrity to be able to hold her core. And as well, then that transitioned into the Detroiter lift, which, yes, she's in the air. You know, she's not skating, but you've done Detroiters before. How difficult is that?
Really hard. I mean, you're balancing on the boy has his hand on the back of your neck and between the thighs, and you're just balancing on those 2 points. You're laid out like a barbell, and the centrifugal force, when that hits as he's spinning, is really hard. I mean, if you tilt either way, it's going to be a horrible, terrible accident. So, and also because you're spinning on your back and you're facing the ceiling, it makes you super dizzy. So for her to land that and like really nail that landing, I was very impressed.
She did. Kind of a mixed bag with the judges' scores, 5.5 all the way up to 6.5, total of 24. Now, Jane and Chris, with which I completely agree with, both commented on the fact that she had so much more confidence this week.
I think when we saw her VT in the first week when she skated, we saw all of boot camp when she was absolutely terrified and absolutely nervous. She will have seen that and heard that, stood backstage while she was waiting to come out and perform, and that may have transferred a little bit. I actually think in the first week, she had a confidence about her. You could tell she was nervous, she was lip syncing, but then she got through it, and I thought she did have confidence and potential to have confidence. And then this week, I think she brought that with her.
She did. And also, can we just mention, how does Sylvain make a Beetlejuice costume look hot?
I mean, that boy, seriously.
Ridiculous.
He's the hottie toddy.
All right. Hannah and Andy skated third to the popular.
He's like all your Beetlejuice fantasies come true. Did you have one?
No, I didn't.
Well, you do now. You're welcome.
I'll go back and watch the tape. Yeah. The tape. Who says that anymore? I'll go back and watch the tape.
Well, Beetlejuice was on tape, definitely.
It was on tape.
It was VHS all the way.
Yeah. Third to skate was Hannah and Andy.
I think we need to call them Handy. Hannah and Andy, Handy.
Ooh, no, that sounds really bad.
Okay. Handy Andy? No. Beetlejuice, Handy Andy.
Oh my God. Wow, we're only on number 3, kids. They skated to Frozen. Can you let it go? Because they let it go.
Can you get yourself together?
I am together.
Okay.
Gosh, I want to love Hannah. I really want to love, because Andy's such a great guy. He is such a technician when it comes to skating. Something didn't work tonight.
It was like hard work. First of all, they were nervous. There were some little trips. There were some like little shakes. You could really tell that they were nervous. It wasn't strong enough. And that piece of music is an absolute powerhouse. It's belting. And so
you're up against the music too, let alone everything else.
You're definitely competing with that very, very strong track. And everybody loves that piece. So if you get it right, the whole audience is going to be emotional and behind you. I mean, that piece of music means something to everybody.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate wedding song, really. She has a stunning back. When she was in her drape, when she finally got into it, because she did wobble a bit going into
the drape is the overhead lift that we saw where they both are skating forwards and she ends up going up over Andy's head, balancing on one hand, which is on her back.
Yeah, and she's about 10 feet, probably about 9 feet in the air at that point. She also did a layout lift where she had a beautiful back. So she's great when she's in the air. I feel like she has problems when she hits the ice. She didn't look very happy. She didn't own that piece. If you're going to go out and be Elsa, and especially your 2 girls are in the audience and they love Elsa and they've been to see the musical and they know that Mom is going to be Elsa this week, you got to own that piece. You have to be Elsa.
You really do.
And she looked stunning. I mean, that hairpiece on her and that beautiful blue dress. I mean, literally all of my dreams come true. But she didn't own it.
Yeah, she died. I wrote down, was it nerves or was it lack of training time?
I don't know if something happened. Like, honestly, I feel like something happened either backstage or in training or maybe with the coaches or maybe she'd had a disagreement on a personal level with a family or something. But she looked unhappy. Like, she looked actually a bit furious.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't bringing the right vibe to that piece. And particularly after when she finished skating, I thought she was going to like hit somebody.
Whack with that ponytail.
With that big old hairpiece. I was like, whack, whack. I don't know what happened. To me, something went down.
Something was off, for sure.
Something.
Yeah, something was off. And I think the judges obviously felt that too. Jane and Chris gave her 4.5s. Odie and Ashley gave her 5.5s. Obviously, Jane and Chris are looking at the technical aspect of the skate. Ashley and Odie are looking at the more performance side of it. So that's why the scores were a bit different.
But even still, she was listening to the judges' comments and her face... Literally, her face, she was so angry.
Yeah.
There was a backstory going on there that we have not heard about, but I think
if anybody knows, please DM us. Let us know.
I want to know. She was pretty angry.
Yeah,
maybe she was angry with herself. I don't know, because she knew it didn't go that well, but it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't. It wasn't really. It wasn't that bad at all. I think, when we compare couple to couple, it's, it sounds bad. And when you look at the scores, it looks like it is bad, but it really wasn't that bad. We're just being ultra critical when it comes to these.
Yeah, I think we should move on because I just feel like it wasn't her night. I think she knew that. I think she telegraphed that. I think the judges knew that. And I just feel like everybody kind of watched that routine and felt a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Couple number 4 this evening was Greg and Vanessa James.
Big it up.
Pulp Fiction all the way. Skating to the track, never can tell. Vanessa is really pushing him. She's working him hard.
I love that. You only have 8 or 10 weeks to impress the public. You could go at any moment. You could be out of the competition at any moment. It's a public vote as well. So I feel like she should be pushing him. He's an Olympian. He's going to thrive in that environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, moving to the skate, incredible footwork. I mean, you and I sat and watched it, obviously, and we were saying to ourselves, could I even do that?
Literally.
How long would it take me to learn that step? It was this really intricate forwards to backwards, turning cross step in opposite directions sort of footwork sequence.
Well, when I saw her setting that in the VT, obviously during the week, I was like, that's way too hard. He's not going to get that. He blew it out the park.
He did.
Didn't he?
He really did. And then she's bringing in competitive figure skating tricks to Dancing on Ice, which we really have never seen before. They did a single split twist, which was the move that he throws her up in the air. She turns around, he catches her, and then she lands. Now,
so hard.
So
hard.
difficult. Now, I've also seen from their social media, she is working with him on a double split twist, which he'll throw her up in the air. She rotates twice. He catches her and then puts her down.
I literally cannot wait.
If that happens, that is history in the making.
I mean, I have to say, Greg and Vanessa's Pulp Fiction was my favorite routine of the night. It had everything. It was so technically difficult. I loved their wigs. I loved their look. I didn't love the music. That was a really hard piece of skate.
Hard track.
And it kind of started slow and I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this. And then it built quickly and they were just bang, 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 trick after trick after trick. And literally wow factor tricks, not just tiny little tricks. I mean, a split twist, a throw, he threw her.
Yep. Absolutely.
I know it was meant to be a double and she pulled out, but that's because she's an experienced pro and she'd rather do a clean element than mess it up and fall over.
High five to that. She can
That's
speak
right.
the truth. That was a really weak high five.
Because I didn't want to
I
didn't want to mess up my little shoulder thing.
I have to say,
shimmy. Look at me now. I'm all fluffy and messy. Shebang.
You're all fluffy and messy.
Well, I'm a big fluffy mess.
What is it, Saturday night?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, back to Greg. It was smooth, it was seamless, and it was cool. Literally, from the start to finish, there wasn't a moment when I wasn't in it with them.
Also, I feel like Greg needs to dye his hair black because that suited him.
Looked
I
great.
loved her little wig. I loved his little wig. Like, those two are just my dream team. For me, that was my favorite performance of the night.
Was it?
No, actually, it wasn't. It was my second.
tell lies.
It was my second favorite performance of the night. I forgot there've been so many. I've lost count. It's my second favorite performance of the night.
Now, if we move to the judges, a huge score of 28.5, 7s and 7.5s across the board. I have to agree with Chris here. Chris wants more power.
Did you hear my eyes roll?
No, but I heard you actually sigh.
I mean, literally. No, Chris.
Yes.
Chris said he needs more speed, but I disagree with him. And I disagree with you. In fact, I disagree with everybody tonight. I'm disagreeable in general. I think he's a powerhouse.
Jenny, watch out. Jenny, producer, watch out.
I'm going to point some fingers around here. Disagreeing. I just think that performance, I mean, you have to have speed to get that split twist in there. You have to have speed to get that throw in there. I just think it was deceptive. I think because he's so smooth and because he's so good, you guys just didn't. You two are both wrong.
I just want to see when he does forward crossovers that push actually pushes and not just steps, right? Like you can tell when somebody is putting muscle through the floor into that extension, which then carries that momentum moving forwards. Like if we get all scientific now. And I think with Greg, because he's tall and he has a larger body mass because of his athletic stature, he can get away with it without it being slow. I just want to see a little bit more oomph. If
he gives me more oomph, I mean, he's going to be out.
You're going to be fluffy and messy, that's for sure.
Fluffy mess again. I don't think the rink can contain them. I feel like they can't go any faster because they'll be off the rink.
Let's build a bigger rink.
Let's build a bigger rink. I'm disagreeing with you on that one.
Good. 101 Dalmatians. Claire and Colin, or Claire and the dog.
Claire and the dog.
I didn't understand. okay, I have to say this. Marcos, who is head of hair and makeup, is a very good friend of mine, and I love him to death. But what did you do to Colin, Marcos? Like, what? You liked it, though.
I did. He was a cute little puppy. I wanted to take him home and pet him.
I just thought it was a little too much.
Well, yeah, but I think, obviously, with Claire being so committed to the character, because we know she's been in panto, we know she's been in theatre, so we know she can really pull off this Cruella de Vil character, which she did. She was very sassy. She was very cute. I mean, she was a little slow, but that's okay. We'll forgive that because she was so committed to the character. I mean, Colin dressed as a dog. What else can you do? He's meant to be a dog. He looked like a dog.
I don't know.
Put a leash on him. He's done.
Give him a treat. Pat him on the back.
Good boy.
You're right. She was very committed to that character. I mean, she was, and I'll steal your words when you were watching it, the perfect pantomime villain.
Absolutely.
You could tell she really worked hard, and I really appreciate that. The pushes, like her pushes on her forwards and backwards crossovers were really nice.
Gorgeous.
Her leg extensions are sublime. And the criticism that we had last week of we need the from her came. It was there. She
100%.
took the judges' notes and she totally nailed what they wanted.
And she had lovely positions. And I really felt for her when she was in the Kiss and Cry. And she said, I know I'm not going to be in the Bolero, but I'm just loving it. We know, we can tell, Claire, we know you're loving every minute of it. And now it's really nice to see that because I feel like her personality, you don't want to hide that. And last week she was being so careful and so cautious. She didn't want to fall. She was kind of like hiding that bubbly personality. She was performing because she's an actress, but this week, I felt like she was enjoying the performance.
Absolutely. And I think, too, when the celebs always say, oh, I'm probably not going to make the Bolero. Claire, we love you. You could make the Bolero. Let me just say that.
Never say never.
Never say never.
Also, the exit of that kiss spin, she nailed that ending.
Which is difficult for a female.
A bow.
Yeah. And they were on time.
Yeah, which is one of the few couples that were because there were so many late couples.
Yeah. Odie wants to see her skate on her own more. Or skate on her own, actually. And I agree with that. We're at the stage now. And I say this because, like...
It's week 2.
I know. Well, it's week 3, but it's performance 2. And I get that. But in order to stay in this competition, you do have to start skating on your own.
I'm pretty sure she can skate on her own, just based on what she's doing with Colin.
But Colin can be really clever with the choreography, too.
Yeah.
Because I had that with Sally Dinova a couple of years ago. She did not want to let go of me, period. It took about 3 or 4 shows in order for me to let go of her, and she did do some stuff on her own. When I understand it's scary, but I think
feel like Claire is more confident than Sally was, in fact.
100%.
Yeah, so she's probably
100%.
a bit closer to be ready to take that plunge.
Now,
We're cheering on for you. We're cheering you on, Claire.
Absolutely. 6s across the board, total score of 24. Put her 3rd to last on the leaderboard. Again, big scores across the board through this whole podcast. So stick with us, kids. We're halfway through.
That's gone so quickly.
But before we go on any further, we must give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Lakeside Shopping Centre.
The leading retail and leisure destination in Essex.
Now, it's only 35 minutes from London, has free parking and over 250 stores to discover.
And I have been discovering them all. They are great.
They really are. All right, 6 to skate. Lou and Brendan, Bridesmaids. Wilson Phillips track, Hold On for One More Day. I love this track, first and foremost.
You melted like butter. I watched you.
Butter, absolute butter. However, I have to say, I've never seen anybody skate to this before, ever. It's a hard track to skate to. Mid-tempo sucks. You want a fast track or you want a slow track. When you get stuck in that mid-tempo level, it is not easy because you're just like, what do we do, right?
You're like Lou's biggest fan, aren't you?
I am.
I know. Yes. And
I want to, I just want to say so much, but I have to give you some time. Go.
No, go for it. I want to hear what you want to say.
She has by far the most potential out of everybody, right? She can skate, first and foremost. We can see that. Yes, I agree with the judges. It's the upper body just isn't there yet. That's hard to work on, but it's not impossible. The acting, she can get. Brendan, who is a brilliant coach, who's actually a really great actor himself, just needs to work with her more on the floor in acting than on the ice right now. And that, I think, can come.
I agree with you. I mean, she had a good...
You do?
Well, I mean, there's a caveat. She had a good spin. She had good landings.
What does that mean?
This is a little butt. There's a tiny little butt.
Like yours.
Like mine.
Not mine.
She had a good spin. She had good landings. She had great landings from her jumps. But it's the upper body again. And we had this conversation, and Oti's mentioned it twice. And Oti, by the way, has been great this week. She's really been.
Oti was on fire this week.
Her comments were spectacular this week, and she was telling some truths. I have to agree with Oti. Absolutely. The upper body needs a lot of work, and I'm still not feeling that Lou is enjoying herself out there. I feel like she's just getting through it, and she's good. So she should be comfortable and she should be confident, but I don't feel that. And if I don't feel that, I feel like a lot of people who don't even understand skating would definitely feel a little uncomfortable.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I love her. She is a great skater, but she just needs to believe it, and she needs to make me believe it. I already know she's a good skater, but then just enjoy it.
What she needs to find, and this can, I think Brendan can really help her with this, is take her to what she does for a living, right? She's a stand-up comedian. When she's on that stage in the spotlight behind a mic.
It's a lonely place.
It's a lonely place, but she's the expert, right? Now we need to try and find how she can transpose that feeling that she gets as a stand-up comedian to what she's doing out here. What the answer to that is, I don't have that. But it's something that she can find. And I think if we can tap into that a little bit, we're going to see some pretty cool things here.
Maybe she needs to script her routine and so that she can almost monologue her way through it, and find her points of reference.
Great idea.
So she can find her wink at the camera, and she can find her smile, and she can find her shoulders out. But it needs to happen quickly. She's on thin ice.
Oti also said, don't give up. And I'm here for that too.
Oh, never give up to all of the competitors. Somebody's going home every week. Somebody's dancing on ice. Journey ends every single week. So do not give up, because you're always fighting for it.
Come on, Lou, you can do it. All right, super consistent across the board, 5.5s, total score of 22. Interestingly, she was trending on X during the show.
I saw that.
People were not happy with her scores.
Yeah.
So, has she won the public?
Well, she must have won the public, because she went through. There was no hint of her being in the skate off.
So maybe people are connecting with her.
Maybe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Surprise.
Shifty side eye. Did you have to?
No, I just have a sty in that eye.
You could be deep. Yeah, she's got potential. I just need to see her enjoy it. Like, relax, Lou. Let's see what you've got.
Let's have some fun.
There you go. It's got to be fun. And obviously she's going to be nervous, because she thinks that because she was in the skate off last week, it means that she didn't get the public vote. So that means that she thinks this week, when it's all down to public vote, that she was going to go home. So I'm sure she was nervous. I'm sure it really meant a lot to her. But I'm reading that, and I don't want to read that.
Well, maybe her going through, being safe this week, will give her that confidence.
She had the ultimate bounce back. Go on, girl.
The bounce back. Number 7, lucky number 7. Eddie and Vicky, Austin Powers, Soul Bossa Nova.
Bossa Nova.
I'm here for it. I
loved every second of this piece.
I ate it. I regurgitated it. I ate it again. I sold it.
Furball.
It was phenomenal. He's
a ray of sunshine. He's so joyful.
He shocks me.
I know.
Because you see him in that opening position and you're like, oh, here we go, comedy act. And you're like, nope, this is real. This is legitimate. Oh my God, what is he doing? Now, I know I said that Greg was seamless. Eddie was seamlesser, more. It was outstanding.
He was spectacular. I mean, he was so committed. Once again, he's taken a piece of music and a completely out there character. This is what Lou needs to do. She needs to watch Eddie, because he's not performance trained, but he is literally so committed to every character. I'm committed to it. I actually felt I was watching Austin Powers out there. I mean, even at the end when he was like, yeah, baby. How cute was he?
I know.
So cute.
Giving it back to Jane Torval. Yeah, baby.
Loving your work. Oh, shag me.
Oh, gosh. Okay. He hit, what I loved was that he hit every beat of choreography. Like every single, okay. And I need to try and break this down for you at home. There's one thing when you're doing forward crossovers, and then you do a 3-turn to go backwards, and then you do a little arm movement with a wide step, and then you step forwards and then do a little shimmy. He integrated everything. Now that is something that a seasoned skater does. And watching him, I was like, you didn't even notice sometimes that it was choreography because it was so perfect.
And because he was performing it so well that you were just lost in that performance. I mean, his little hop crosses, hello.
Yeah,
What was that? Amazing.
Totally.
Loving his work. He was so joyful. You know, you can tell that even in rehearsals, he's a joyful person. That's not just for the camera. It's not like he's, you know, stressing and worrying backstage and then he comes out and turns it on because he's a great actor. That's his personality.
Yeah.
He's a little ray of sunshine.
I wrote steady, steady, Eddie.
Of course you did. The judges said that he improved, but I felt like his scores were either exactly the same or lower than last week.
They were higher than last week.
Were they slightly?
Slightly higher than last week, obviously, because now that we've got 11 couples competing against each other, the spread of the board is bigger.
But where did he end up on the leaderboard?
He ended up 4th on the leaderboard.
He was robbed.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. Because
Okay.
I enjoyed it so much. I didn't feel nervous. I didn't feel like he tripped. I didn't feel like he made any mistakes. I feel like he's sure-footed. He's a great skater. He's an amazing performance. What more do you people need? He was robbed. I feel like he could have been at least second.
I'm trying to like really think into that because of, I mean, we'll finish the couples, but where we stand right now and what we're talking about is that Amber is top of the leaderboard, Miles and Adele are second, and then Greg and then Eddie.
So I feel like Greg should have been a little higher. I'm not so concerned about where Miles was. I didn't love that performance. And I feel like Eddie could have been higher. I feel like Greg and Eddie should both have surpassed Miles on that one.
Okay, well, we'll get into Miles in just a second.
Sure.
But all right, well, that's interesting. I think that's something that we just need to keep an eye on moving forward each week is how they're scoring Eddie.
Yeah. Steady, Eddie.
Steady Eddie. Well, he's steady.
He's ready, Eddie. Vicky and Anette missed a blue sky, except she was green.
Skating to Galaxy.
Do you need to bite your cheeks for a minute because you can't stop laughing?
That just made me laugh. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I love this movie. I love this track. Big fan.
From the moment they cut to them in studio, you were like, oh my God, I love this already. I'm like, they haven't done anything.
But he had the headphones on and everything. I just watched the movie like a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I love the movie anyway. I've seen it many times. I watched the movie just a couple of weeks ago and it took me back.
It was very interesting to see with him, though, after the show, when they go to the VT, they record you as soon as you come off the ice backstage. And he was really emotional. And he was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why I'm acting this way. Do you think he was upset by his performance, or was that just sort of like the whole pressure of the first live show? Because his performance last week, we were very disappointed with.
Yeah, I think he is turning a corner. He's just turning real slow. And I said last week he needed to catch up and he needed to catch up quickly.
Yeah.
He has caught up. He was better. He's still got that happy-go-lucky persona about him. He's just a bit rough, you know, like you're just a little bit like, ooh, stand up,
Yeah.
you know, don't trip, don't fall, don't make a mistake. But the whole way through it, he's happy and he's having a good time. Like, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
They did pull-throughs again this week, which I'm pretty sure they did in their last routine, so I might need to see different tricks. They did a plank, which is very hard for the male skater because obviously Annette's body is tilting forwards and backwards, so he has to have a lot of control there, a lot of strong thigh work,
Yeah.
and be strong through his hands and his arms. They did get higher scores than last week, so obviously the judges also think that he's improved, and I think he's improved, but he's still a bit shaky, and there were a couple of tricks.
Yeah, and I have to say, Annette is new to the show this year. And if I could give her any words of advice, watch him. Now, what I mean by that is there was a couple of times in the performance when the choreography was similar. They were supposed to be sort of mirroring or mimicking each other, and he was off or she was off. And that's part of our job as the professional is to, regardless of what the celeb does, try and match them.
Yeah,
right?
even if they do it wrong or even if they're off timing, it's okay for the pro to be off time as well, as long as you're matching.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it really highlights those mistakes.
Exactly. So, Annette, if you are listening to this, please just watch him out of the corner of your eye just a little bit better, because then we won't notice when there's little mistakes.
Yeah, just keep your eye on him. You look good in green though, girl. Like that and like the wig.
She looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky, technically speaking, he had 3 turns. He had back crossovers.
But he doesn't bend his knees enough. So yes, he has the elements. He's got the 3 turns. He's turning from forwards to backwards. Yes, he's got the backward crossovers. So he's traveling. But he's a little high in his knees, don't you think?
Yeah, he is. I appreciate the fact, though, that he did a step sequence, which was solo.
Yep.
So that obviously is a huge improvement from last week. But I agree with you. I still think he's a little bit rough, but as you did, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The overall performance.
I really like watching him. He's got such a
5,
smiley face.
He does. Well, when he smiles, we smile with him.
Yeah.
Right? He makes you feel good.
I feel like Lou needs to watch him. That would help him.
5.5 and 5s across the board with the judges. Total score of 21, which unfortunately put him second to last on
Did
that
it
leaderboard.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. Odie noticed a really big improvement this year. Jane did mention the wobbles and to work on the basics. Now, we need to clear this up.
Let's talk about basics because people at home won't know what basics are.
Right. Basic skating is basically, no pun intended, what you learn on the first couple of weeks when you're on the ice. And that is to get you from point A to point B. Forward stroking, which is just basically stepping forwards. Forward crossovers, but you see when the celebs and the pros go around the corner. Basic elements, just really basic skating.
Backward skating, turning from forwards to backwards, and there's so many different ways that you can do that. But just your basic skating. And at this point in the competition, if you don't have those smooth like butter, then you need to be really thinking about catching up. You need to be doing extra hours on the ice and working on those basics because they are exactly that, basics. They get you from A to B. And everything in between is the choreography. But if your basics aren't solid, if you don't feel that you're connected to the ice and if you don't feel strong on your feet, then once we start adding choreography in, that's when you're going to trip.
Yeah, and we hear that from the judges quite often is go back and work on basics. So we just wanted to clarify that for you guys at home.
And when we look at somebody like Lou, she has incredible basics.
Yes.
And actually some of the other skaters do too. Ricky needs to really work on those.
All right, then next to skate was Miles and Vanessa Bauer. Skating to Twilight, 1,000 Years. Set the scene, Frankie.
I mean, it's a very romantic piece. It's actually one of my favourite pieces of music, and simply because our great friends Sean and Jodine skated so well to it when we were on tour with them. Then Sean sadly passed away, so it has a lot of evocative memories for me. Alex and Lukash have skated to it in tribute to Sean. So for me, I wanted this piece to be absolute perfection. And I know I was setting the bar high. I thought it was a little awkward. It does have a very romantic feel to it. You know, it's easy to watch Vanessa, but she is the pro. So we actually need to focus on Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, her skirt was in his face when they were doing some of the lifts. So I get that some of it was tricky, but he tripped. They had a little bit of an ugly dismount out of the roll-up. I didn't love that. She kind of just crawled off his back.
And that was the lift that they fell in during dress rehearsal.
Right.
So, of course, nerves are going to be high for that.
But a dismount's not something, you know, once you've got the lift up and he's skated through it, then bringing Vanessa down isn't something you should be too concerned about. And she just kind of slid off his back.
Now, I'm going to say this. If you get to a dress rehearsal and a lift is still not working, yes, I don't know if they'd had problems throughout the week with that trick, right? But if you get to a lift that you've been working on all week and it hasn't been working and you're just going to chance it, never chance it. Because it 9 times out of 10 is going to go wrong, especially in a live environment. And not to say that this lift that they did went wrong, but it just looked a little bit awkward getting out of it, probably because they haven't had a lot of time to work on it.
It was very uncomfortable.
And it ruined the piece. It was a beautiful piece, the whole thing, I thought. And then it was like, you have this moment of like, oh, what was that?
I feel like we're having the same conversation that we had about Miles the first week. I was so excited to see him skate the first week. Thought he started off really strong, kind of fizzled toward the end. Feel the same way this week. He tripped. They were late at the end of the music. I just felt it was a little bit awkward. Even the kind of chemistry between them didn't work for me as well this week. And with a slow piece, you want that.
And Vanessa's really good at these slow pieces, choreographically speaking, characterization speaking. And I do agree with you a little bit. There was a little disconnect between the two of them. I don't know if in studio live felt different because the judges raved about it, but to me watching it on screen, it didn't come through the camera. However, I have to give him props. He did 2 rotational lifts.
Yep.
And for a male celebrity to do a rotational lift with the pro in his hands is difficult.
However, on the rotational lifts, if you guys are listening, I just want him to make sure that his feet are clean. He got a little wide in the middle there as he was transitioning through those rotations. And when a male celebrity opens his legs during a rotation, that to me screams alarm bells. There's an accident waiting to happen. So get your feet sorted out, make sure that your feet are underneath you and that those rotations are clean, because he kind of stepped through and it was messy.
And at the end, did you notice that he went in for like a little neck nuzzle?
I mean, he's a vampire. That was a bite.
Oh. That was me hoping for something else.
I mean, I think
I failed
you're
that.
reading a lot into this couple. Do you feel like there's vibes?
Oh, total.
Total vibes.
Total vibes.
Well, I feel like that when he went in for the awkward vampire bite at the end, she kind of was like, no, she didn't like it. And she knew it was coming.
Well, maybe she didn't want to be bitten. Who wants to be bitten?
That's true. Well, by your paramour?
But what?
By your lover?
Oh my God.
I want to love these two because they look amazing. But I'm not there yet. So hopefully they're kind of like growers. They're gonna grow on me. You guys, like, you're so naughty. What's going on?
I do love them. I just want some
Do
consistency.
you love them or do you like them?
Well, it's infatuation, so I like them. I want to love them.
Same.
However, I think, it's not quite there yet. This could be amazing. This could be incredible.
I feel like when they hit a performance that is spot on, and they're bound to sooner or later, if we wait long enough, it is going to blow the roof off.
Yes, it will.
It just hasn't done
And
yet.
Vanessa has those moments in, historically through the past 5 or 6 years that she's been a pro on the show. She has had some of those iconic performances.
Let's see one. Pull it out.
Yeah. Judges. Wow. Innuendo bendo tonight. I kind of have to agree with Ashley, though, because he wants to see better presentation with the hands. He does get a little bit spatula, wooden spoon type of.
Bit stiff. I think it's when he gets nervous. His shoulders come up a little bit and everything kind of straightens out and gets stiff. So I think he needs to work on softening those.
Yeah.
It'd make him feel more kind of connected and romantic as well.
Totally.
The stiff arms aren't doing it for me.
7s and 7.5s across the board. Total score of 29, which put them second on the leaderboard at this point.
See, I didn't enjoy that performance as much as I enjoyed Greg's performance. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Eddie's performance, which is why I said I feel like Eddie was robbed and Greg should have been higher than Miles and Vanessa. Just didn't enjoy it that much.
Then maybe we are in a situation to where the live studio audience got to feel something different than what we felt at home.
Maybe, but also the judges, it's human nature. You have your favourites, and maybe Vanessa and Miles are just higher up their kind of consciousness. Maybe they just like them more.
Maybe.
Whereas I'm sitting here thinking I like Eddie and Greg more because we all have our favourites. It's a popularity contest, so let's be honest about who we like, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we had Adele and Mark skating to the theme tune from The Matrix. Wow. Again.
She is giving me a vibe every week, and we've only seen 2, but they were so completely different. I mean,
so completely different.
She was so committed this week. She was so committed last week, and they were completely different. She's an amazing storyteller. I'll say it again. I said it last week. I love the stories that she's telling. And The Matrix, that's a hard track to skate to. It's a hard kind of character to get into. 100% I was there with her. She was Trinity.
When I heard that they were going to be skating to The Matrix, I went, oh no, that is going to be, and even with Mark's brilliant choreography.
Oh, it was amazing.
How do you put a character behind The Matrix? Because the characters in The Matrix are all like deadpan.
They're robots.
They're robots, right? And I have to mention too, all of the choreography that we saw on the knees is difficult, okay? It doesn't seem like it's difficult, but when you're in leather pants or PVC or whatever they were wearing. Pleather. It's slippery. And then you have all of that knee work, which is why Chris mentioned it. It's really difficult because there's no traction. So it's easy to mess things up. It's easy to slide off your knee or, bump into each other. She nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
100%. And also, it hurts being on your knees. You know that. Like, you have bony knees and it's hard ice. And the minute you go down, then you start moving around, it is killing your bones.
Yeah.
She killed it. I could have watched that routine literally another 5 or 6 times. I loved everything about it. It was iconic.
And I thought it was fast and powerful, and she attacked it.
Oh, she did. Oh, I want to go back and watch it again. The choreography. Let's just give a massive shout out to Mark Henretti for his choreography.
Mark Henretti, the choreography was probably one of the most innovative that I have seen in a very, very long time.
That was legendary. I hope that if they get chance to do that again, do their favorite piece, it's going to be one. I loved it.
Well, and just think too, if we get to that stage with Adele, her skating will have improved even that much more.
But did you notice, like, even at the beginning when she came out of the phone box and she skated by herself and she skated with speed. I mean, she
did a bower around Mark.
She bowed up to him. She bowered around him and there wasn't a wobble. Like, her core was strong. She was doing arm choreography while she was bowering and her core did not move.
Yeah.
She was
strong.
on it, like a cob on it.
She's strong. I'm here for it. Chris said that she has mastered the skating. I have to agree with him, but I also have to agree she, who is not an actress, is mastering these performances too.
Absolutely.
And as we've mentioned already, Odie has nailed this week's judging commentary.
OT wins today.
She said, and I've not heard this ever from anybody that's ever sat on that panel, she has come here to create outstanding moments.
And she has succeeded. And so
2 weeks in a row.
And well done, OT, for spotting that and pointing it out to us all.
Yeah. 7.5s and 7s across the board, a score of 29, which put her joint with Miles. Don't agree with that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. Miles and Vanessa, as lovely as that performance was with its faults, this one was flawless.
It really was.
And it was iconic, and it was epic, and it was mesmerizing, breathtaking. It was completely committed to the performance. They weren't late at the end of the music. There were mistakes in Miles and Vanessa's performance that we didn't see in other couples, and I don't understand how they superseded them with the markings, with the judges.
Interesting.
I think somebody's slipping somebody a little bit of backhander.
Wow.
A little £5 note in an envelope.
It cost me more than £5.
Well, there you go.
And then finally, Amber and Simon skated to Barbie. What was I made for? To be played with.
My job is ice. She was great. She was gorgeous.
She really was.
Oh, the set. Can we talk about the set? It was giving me Barbie vibes. I actually saw the movie.
Well, it was Barbie.
It was giving me all the Barbie vibes. Did I miss a word?
Yeah, you did.
It was giving me all the Barbie vibes. I loved it. But they were a little bit late at the end. Again,
there was probably the fifth or sixth couple that just missed the ending. And I don't know. Nobody commented on it.
I know.
It's like, oh, let's just not pretend it happened. To give credit to the judges, sometimes at the end of a performance, because it is so loud in the studio with the audience clapping and stuff, you can't always hear the end of the music, right? We can at home because of the mix. But wow, those are some side eyes.
I mean, there were 6 couples that were late. They didn't hear one of them?
Maybe.
What are you guys wearing, earmuffs? It's chilly, is it?
It is cold in there.
Seriously.
I have to say, though, seeing Amber skate tonight reminded me of Georgie Porter. It reminded me of Faye Brooks. She has it, but I think we're going to see some really good stuff here in the next couple of weeks with her.
She was stunning tonight. I have to agree with you. Gorgeous skating, gorgeous lines, very expressive, very committed.
Very hard tricks.
Yeah.
That backwards cartwheel into the pencil. I've never seen that before.
Girl's got abs of steel.
So that I give her props to that she's trying new things and that she wants to try new tricks. Now, they did say that the scorpion trick that Simon taught her had never been done on this show before. A version of it has been done before.
Yeah. Many different versions of it have definitely been done.
But again, I appreciate the fact that she's coming into these training sessions and she's like, I want to do something that nobody's done before.
Yeah, she's requesting that. She's actually going in and saying, let's make it hard for me.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Absolutely.
That is a winning attitude.
Chris used one word, as Ken says in the film, sublime. And it was.
Yeah.
7.5s from Odie and Ashley, 8.0s from Jane and Chris, with a top total score of 31.
Well deserved.
All right, so all 11 couples skated. Let's have a look at the leaderboard tonight. There we have Amber on top with 31 points, Miles and Adele joint with 29, Greg 28.5, Eddie 28, Ryan 25, Roxy and Claire were joint at 24, Lou 22, Ricky 21, and Hannah, who unfortunately left tonight without a skate off, at 20.
Yeah, so sad to see Hannah go, Hannah and Andy. But I do feel like really that is about, apart from the top of the leaderboard, which I might have shuffled a little bit, I feel like the bottom of the leaderboard was about right.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with tonight's performances. However, who would you have given the Oscar to?
Tonight, I would have given the Oscar to Adele and Mark. I just found that whole entire piece so watchable. It dragged me in. I loved it.
I wanted to give the Oscar to Ryan for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because the way that started, I was like, ooh, and they opened the show. Like, I was so excited for it. And then it just fizzled out. But I have to give the Oscar to Eddie.
Yeah, he was my close second, definitely. He was brilliant tonight too. So committed.
Loved it.
But again, I'm going to say, how is he going to cope with a romantic piece? And are we going to see some big lifts from him? Because we haven't yet.
We may not see some big lifts, but lifts don't necessarily win Dancing on Ice, do they?
I don't know. I feel like everybody that's won Dancing on Ice has done some lifts.
Joe Swash didn't.
Didn't he?
No.
Look, Eddie's very capable, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they're working on him. And I'm sure he's going to be, I hope he's going to be as committed to a love story as he is to his character pieces. But if he isn't, never mind, because those character pieces are smashing it.
Yeah, every week. Bring it.
So we've gone from 11 skaters down to 10 this week. And the remaining skaters, the remaining 10 next week, really need to step up their game. But I'm looking forward to seeing Adele. Can't wait. Looking forward to seeing Eddie. Cannot wait. I mean, there's some great performances to come. So bring it on, you guys.
There really is. And so much to look forward to right here on the Icebreakers podcast as well, because don't forget, on Fridays, we have our bonus episode. Last week, we had Denise Welsh. This coming week, we have Amy Hart, who is a massive fan of Dancing on Ice.
Dancing on Ice, super fan. Who knew?
She knew stuff about me that I had forgotten.
It was great chatting to her. And we're going to be diving deep into her life after reality TV. So make sure you tune in. Catch us there.
Thank you guys so much once again for listening and for watching. Make sure you hit us up on all the socials. We do on those bonus episodes go through a lot of your questions and comments, so come join in on the conversation. And from Frankie and I,
good night.
It's time to take this tux off. Produced by Be Inspired Media, the content and podcast agency.